right, good morning. Today is lesson 207, which is a review of lesson 187. I bless the world because I bless myself. And I can see that I've got a couple of things not quite straight on the stream, but that is okay. I think for today, I'm just going to slide myself out of the way and read anyway. Let's see if I can switch over to the other mic. And I'll read this lesson and then I'll read our notes. Tom will have an activity for our Course in Miracles lesson number 207.
I bless the world because I bless myself. Lesson 207 is a review of Lesson 187. We will begin and end each session with the theme behind this review lesson, which is, I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. Lesson 207. I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. I bless the world because I bless myself. God's blessing shines upon me from within my heart where God abides. I need but turn to God, and every sorrow melts away as I accept God's boundless love for me. I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me. All right, I'm going to read the notes. I hope you're enjoying Dean's laughter as much as I am. I'm going to read the notes from lesson 187. I bless the world because I bless myself. Good morning, everybody. All right, here are the notes to lesson 187. I bless the world because I bless myself. This lesson asked that you bless the world because you bless yourself. Certainly, if to give is to receive, when we bless another, we would receive that same blessing in return. Yet what power do we possess that would lead us to believe that we have the authority or the right to bless the world? Our world teaches that our experiences lead to our thoughts. We are taught that we are the product of our environment or our genetic makeup. We are brought up to believe that our mind is designed to react to outside forces and stimulus, and that these external events are the original cause of our thoughts. This leads to our belief that our mind is reactive rather than causative, and that any creative power that we possess comes from our ability to manipulate the external things in our world. External things become what we value because we assume that those things possess creative power over our thoughts. Yet in the world of time and space, which is the world of individuated perception, science is now in general agreement that thoughts appear to possess a creative power of their own and can even manipulate the physical world. It now appears that human consciousness or thought is the causative agent for what you call into your awareness. This course has been attempting to demonstrate that thoughts create things. Your thoughts are the causative force behind everything you see. things only represent the thoughts that originally made them. Thoughts come first, and your experiences are the product of those thoughts. Things are merely thought forms in slow motion that appear temporarily frozen in time. Over time, all forms change, yet the thought that created the form remains, because we falsely attribute creative power to the form rather than the thought that created the form. Observation that forms change over time is the source of fear, the source for fear. Fear would not be possible if we did not believe that change is real. The ego's belief that form is real creates the illusion that is used by our fear-based thought system to prove that you have changed over time. This change means that you no longer remain as God created you. You no longer are perfect, whole, and complete. The world values form because it perceives form to be the reality of what you are. It fails to recognize that form is only a representation of the creative power that exists in the mind that created the form in the first place. We mistakenly believe that the form is the source behind creation. Because of this, the world of form teaches that when you give something, you lose the creative power that the form was believed to possess. The world teaches that you now have fewer resources than you previously possessed. The egoic, fear-based thought system the egoic, fear-based thought system teaches that sacrifice is required when we give something away, because it fails to recognize and acknowledge the creative power of your mind. Both the thought system of love and fear agree that you must possess something before you can give it away. But when you believe that form possesses its own creative power, you erroneously believe that when you give that form away, you lose that creative power. This is where the two thought systems diverge. The thought system for love teaches that all creative power resides in the mind, and therefore, when you give, there is no sacrifice. When you understand that thoughts become things, you realize that giving of form requires no sacrifice. Since thoughts never leave their source, when you give the creative power of thought to another, you strengthen that thought, which remains within your own mind. The thought is extended as it is shared, but it is never lost. There is no giver or receiver with thoughts. We traditionally associate those terms since there is no diminishment in either party. The giver of the original thought has reinforced and enhanced their idea. Now there is another who can also extend that same thought. Each party benefits from the exchange of the idea, and each has the thought that is most helpful to them. When you understand the creative power of mind, you must laugh at the idea that giving requires sacrifice. Sacrifice rests on the idea in limitation. Limitation is an attribute of your belief in separation. The world of form and the idea that you are the body are the ego's proof that the separation is real. The body is a concrete example of fear in form. The ego has erroneously assigned the creative power of the mind to a form that lacks any creative power of its own. When you reclaim the creative power of your own mind, you reinstate the truth that your mind is the creative force that powers and generates your provisional reality. You realize that you are the dreamer, and therefore you have the power to end the dream of lack, limitation, and separation. You now realize there is no one to blame or forgive but yourself and your own past egoic beliefs. You can become a messenger for the truth of what you really are. You can forgive yourself for your detour into fear, and fear will simply dissolve away. Fear is merely false evidence appearing real. By holding and sharing the thought of the creative power of mind with another, you open the door for another to accept their own holiness. When you look past the body and see another as part of the oneness of all that is, you help them heal their belief in lack, limitation, and separation. And their healed mind is made holy and whole. Because you realize the power of mind and what you really are, you are in the position of blessing your world with the truth that all are part of the shared mind of God. When you share that thought with another, you strengthen the idea that all are unlimited spirit, and as such, there is no external power that can rob anyone of their divine inheritance except themselves. When you do this, you bless the world because you bless and recognize the sinlessness and innocence of your big S self, your higher self, your Christ nature. And Tom's question of the day is, if you realized that the thoughts are the causative power behind all things, would you still believe that giving required sacrifice? I'll paste that over in our shared chat, and Tom's going to lead us in an activity. I really appreciate you all being here. Thanks for helping to bring this lesson alive today for me.
Good morning.
Tom?
Yeah, uh, this lesson here is, well, again, we're at the summary lesson. So the summary lesson basically is, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. That's the main theme. And in this case, it's asking us to bless the world because I bless myself. Uh, One of the things that we need to realize, and that we've actually been working with throughout this uh, first 200 lessons or so, is the idea of this time space continuum that we experience, this dimension, is not really a dimension that only has the idea of space and time involved with it, which is the idea of up, down, depth, and then time uh, is the fourth dimension. This is the world of perception, which is a world of beliefs. So we have space and time, then we layer in our beliefs on top of that, and that becomes our provisional reality. That becomes our experiences. Now, in this game board, we're not the only kid in the sandbox. So there's other individuated aspects of consciousness that are also throwing in their beliefs, which creates the mass collective consciousness that we uh, envision as the physical world. But You live in your own private world of individuated perception, which means that your private world is influenced and impacted by your beliefs. Uh, and that's the power source behind things. And then, in regards to the physical world out there, that's a collection of the mass collective conscious. The important thing to realize is that, and this is something that is foreign to our egoic mind, is that your mind, spirit, what God gave you, and what you are, is creative energy. We could call it, if we wanted to use a scientific word, we might call it potential energy. And it's your intention that activates potential energy and moves it into kinetic energy, which becomes what we throw into the mix of the sandbox to create the physical world. But the important thing is it's always our beliefs that come first. And we've been taught that we're an effect of our world, that our world comes at us, and that we, at best, are reactive to outside forces, and these outside forces are beyond our control. So, the most important thing is to realize beliefs generate things, or thoughts come first, and that you have creative power. So whenever it asks you to bless the world because I bless myself, there's a couple of things. One is that uh, thoughts never leave their source. So when we have a thought that's shared, whether or not the other person wishes to uh, accept that for their own. If it's done, your own thought becomes strengthened or confirmed. It's not, you still have that original thought. So thoughts never leave their source. The idea of form is a manifestation of your own thoughts and the collective consciousness. But it's this idea of beliefs, which are thoughts, always come first. And we need to correct our misunderstanding of how things work, even in the physical world, because we assume that we're not causative. So you're a very powerful creator. And because you don't, or people do not realize that their thoughts affect how they experience their world, they tend to think that they're victims of outside forces. If you realized how powerful your mind is, you would realize that you are in 100% control of your interpretations that you give every event. So that's just something in regards to whether or not uh, your thoughts will actually manifest in physicality. It's really a question of a set of multiple laws. Uh, One, of course, is that we're not the only kid in the sandbox. So now we've got other people throwing out their own thoughts, their own beliefs, and we get a mixing of those things. We're not in a vacuum. But one of the key things in regards to your inner peace is this law of allowance. I probably said this before. The law of allowance says that no matter how qualified and deserving you are, you will never have the thing that you desire and deserve until you can visualize it for yourself and give yourself permission to have that. So there's two components, but the idea of seeing it for yourself is really the idea that thoughts come first. You've got to be able to envision something, and then the other one, you have to give yourself permission, which means that you're blessing yourself to have that come into being. if you refuse to bless yourself, if you see yourself as unworthy, that's in within your own mind, that thing will never manifest. And then, in regards to if we're talking about physicality, then there's some mass collective consciousness that's involved with whether or not you'll actually see that manifested in on the physical plane. So, anyways, that's just an overview. But the important thing is beliefs come first. So if we're going to bless the world because I bless uh, myself, we have to realize that we are, the law of allowance says that we cannot do that blessing and have it, I'm going to say, stick or have it be worth something unless we perceive ourselves as whole, that we've got this mind that is a power source, and we need to actually believe that we are worthy of being able to bless someone, that we have some power. If we think that we're just a reactive force, we will not believe that we have the power to bless our world or to extend love to our world. So uh, we can bless the world because I bless myself. But if you see yourself as a sinner, if you see yourself as limited, as a victim of outside forces, you will never believe that you have the ability to bless the world, the law of allowance. You'll never be able to imagine that for yourself. And because you perceive yourself to be a sinner, you will never be able to actually extend that blessing because you don't think you're worthy of it. You don't think that you have done enough penance to earn the right to be perfect, whole, and complete, and to extend that to your world. So let's just realize that those are the underlying laws that happen. Our thoughts become things. So why don't you uh, just become aware of your thoughts, your thinking, and just become aware that thoughts come into our awareness, and thoughts themselves just come and go like clouds. But whenever we encounter a thought and move it to the level of a belief, we judge it as either good or bad. We send some energy to it, some potential energy that now is moved into kinetic energy and starts activating that into our awareness. And because of that judgment and that focus, we now start seeing that as it starts materializing within our own mind. It's our own creative energies that's activating and moving that neutral thought into something now because of our judgment, our desire, or our resistance that starts to energize that thought and brings it more and more into our awareness. So when we judge, when we see something as undesirable, we actually send out a force of resistance. When we see something as desirable, we start sending out a force of attraction. But either force will, because that's additional energy, is going to activate that, and it's going to become more and more aware or more absorbent of our own energy. And we're going to start moving into that thought. And we've been practicing this over the uh, weeks where we've been letting our mind go into where we intentionally desire it to go. Fully will demonstrate the power of your mind. Your mind is a creative force. Your thoughts manifest. Your thoughts become how you perceive your own private world of individuated consciousness, and they also interact with the mass collective consciousness that's out there, which will ultimately bring about physicality. So realize your intentions are very powerful. So, what are we? What are you? Are you a power source for a positive world? Are you a power source for love? Are you a power source that is in tune with its own ability to impact your world? Or do you perceive yourself to be a victim of outside forces? Have you bought into the idea that you are not a causative force in your world? Beliefs always come first. So today we're going to work on those beliefs that you are as God created you. You are not a body. You are free. You are still as God created me. I take in that energy. I breathe in or become aware or place my attention on this force, this energy that surrounds me, fills me, permeates through me, in me, and is me. I am energy, thought, power, potential energy. I am an individuated aspect of God, and God is unlimited energy, unlimited creative force. And since like begets like, I have been given that force to direct as I so choose. I accept this energy. I take in the power of God, the creative force, for that is what you are, energy. I am not a body. I am free. I am the power source for all I call into my awareness. And as I realize that I am connected to my power plant, this God force, I realize that it flows endless, surrounds me, permeates me. It comes in my own little dynamo. And as I accept that energy from my source, I charge up my own power, my own ability to extend that energy to my world. I am blessed. God, this power source, has connected me to what it is, a creative force, perfect, whole, and complete. And I share that one self. I am an individuated aspect of that one self. And as an individuated aspect, I can use that power source to create or make my own world of individuated perception. If I create, I extend the truth and I share the thought of God. I see my world as perfect, whole, and complete. I see my sisters, my brother, the dog, as their own power source, their own energy. And if I am unconditional love, I give them the freedom to be and use their own potential energy in any way they see fit, knowing that I share the mind of God, the truth of what they really are, how they choose to use their energy. That's their choice. They can accept the truth of their connectiveness, their sinlessness, or they can imagine there's something other than that. If they want to imagine they're a sinner, they will seem to appear to make this world of perception their reality. If they choose to accept the truth, the connectiveness, that this world of perception cannot change the truth of what they really are, they will also be a messenger for God and be connected to the thought of God and create, even in this world of time and space, this world of perception, rather than make the illusion of separation, sin, guilt, shame, blame, fear, false evidence appearing real within the mind that perceives itself not to be connected to the mind of God, to be separate. Today, I bless the world because I bless myself. And when I bless myself, I acknowledge my wholeness, my holiness. I am whole with my Creator, my source. I realize that I have been given the freedom to be or imagine anything I want, to use this creative force as I choose fit. And today I choose to be the messenger for God, the messenger for truth. And I extend and bless the idea that my sisters, my brothers are as I am. They are not a body. They are free. They are still as God created them. Unlimited energy, potential energy, with given the freedom to use that energy as they see fit. And as I extend and bless them, I extend out the possibility, that higher vision that they too can realize that they are loved and full. I extend out that higher vision to help them be able to minimize, manage, control, and ultimately eliminate their own fear. Today, I bless my world because I bless myself. And when I bless myself, I accept that wholeness. The Creator, this creative force, has allowed all things, trusted all things, has, in this case, we're going to use this world of perception, the idea that forgives all things. It allows you that perfect freedom to imagine anything you want, realizing that your imagination cannot cause it to stop its flow. It never forgives because it never judges. Your illusion, your desire to play on this game board of individuated perception never accepts that as your reality. And thus, it allows you to transcend all things. Today, I bless my world because I bless myself. And I give my world that same freedom. Today, I allow all things, accept all things, forgive all things, and transcend all things. In this world of individuated perception, I am the power source that controls my own inner peace. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created me. And as that one self, that wholeness, I accept the love of God. I accept God's blessing to me. And because I've accepted it, I now possess it. And I can extend it to my world. I bless my world because I bless myself. Today, realize that you are energy, that your thoughts impact your world. It is thoughts that you share with your sisters, your brother. It's thoughts that you extend. And those thoughts become your reality. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created. Nothing sources my experience but me, and nothing can cause me to lose my inner peace unless I allow. Today, I am going to be the steward of my thoughts. I'm going to realize that I am the power source. I accept the love of God and I extend the love of God. I accept the blessing of this energy, this life force, and I extend that life force to my world. I extend that same blessing that I have received. And as you realize this, reconnect to the game token we call the body. Reactivate it. Place your attention on the body. Bring it back into your mind's manifestation. Circulate the energy through that neutral communication device so that today it can be the instrument to radiate your blessing to your. I accept the blessing of my creative force and I extend that blessing to my world. And when you feel connected to your body, connect to this stage, this game board, planet Earth, realize this world is a world of perception. And today I extend the belief that my work is part of that one self. Today I will not mistake the roles that the actors play for what they truly are. And when you feel connected, just take a deep breath and just extend your blessing to your work. Create a great day. Namaste. The God it made recognizes you as the power source for your own world. Create a great day for yourself and your world. Namaste.
Namaste, Tom. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. It's helpful to bring these lessons alive and focus on the part that intersects with life. And this morning, I woke up in good times and bad. I kind of was surfing the ego's suggestions for what my thought should be. And then I sat back and I read the lesson. And I thought back and I reread the beginning, and the review's helpful to me. Coming back to the reality of me being in control of my world, and choosing to bless the world, and that's my focus today. That's a way for me to remember that I'm not a body, that I'm free. I'm still as God created me. I hope it was good for everybody else here too. I'm going to stop the streams and start the discussion, and I hope everybody's going to have a fantastic day today.
Wow, Tom, this was amazing. I mean, just when I think we can't level up anymore, we level up. It makes me realize how clearly this world